playful. He answered all of them. He was so gracious. He was so honest. It was so much fun. So I'm doing at least 2 of these a day. Yesterday was the only day when I didn't do. So I've also got better, and I really look forward to it, and I'm looking forward to my conversation with you.
Thank you, sir. I also look forward to interact with you.
And sir, everybody is looking for motivation, guidance. So because technical things are okay, but everybody is in an unsure zone, even after 35 days. What is on the mind of people is how long will it last more? How long the lockdown will last? How long post that will things come back to normal? So that's there on everyone, whether you're an individual, you're a CEO, it's on everyone's mind, and it has impacted everyone in a different way. So we'll keep a little bit philosophical conversation also. The people need that.
Certainly.
I think we can start, sir, now. It's 12:30 now.
So in 1 minute we'll start.
Yes.
I think he's reading a quote. Good afternoon, Mr. Thiagarajan. We welcome you to Exchange for Media Pitch live conversations on what's happening in business, in media, in communication, in brands, in advertising. How is the situation that's there impacting us? How are we dealing with us? How do we see the future? So let me say to all our viewers and people who've joined in, we at Exchange for Media are delighted to welcome Mr. B. Thiagarajan, who's the MD and CEO of Blue Star, for a conversation and guidance on what the future holds for us. He's not an astrologer, let me tell you, but I've had conversations with him, real conversations. I've sat down. He was kind enough to have a dinner, lunch with me multiple times during the course of last year. So I got to know him as a person, and I'm really delighted and excited that I'm having a conversation with Mr. B. Thiagarajan. Welcome, Mr. Thiagarajan, to this conversation. You're an industry veteran. You're an air conditioning industry veteran. This is summer season, and this is the peak of air conditioning sales, and we are having a season that's unusual. How are you dealing with it?
Good afternoon, Dr. Batra, for your kind introduction. I am very grateful. I must tell that I have always felt the warmth. Much more than that, I'm always amazed to discover quite a few new things each time I meet you. To begin with, your ability to recollect every date as possible, and birthdays of the people, wedding anniversaries of the people, and when we met, where we met, and the conversations. Salute to you. I envy you for this particular trait of yours. I'm extremely happy to be part of this interaction by Exchange for Media. I fondly remember February 22nd, the amazing awards function, or on February 15th, the jury process for the Exchange for Media Awards.
The News Broadcasting Awards.
That's right. And, on February 22nd, in your opening remarks in the awards function, you did caution every one of us. It was a great crowd, and I am wondering whether that kind of a gathering, when it will take jam-packed VVIPs, who is who, celebrities in that hall, or when we will ever see that kind of gathering together in an environment which has changed within 1 month. You cautioned that you pray that India is not affected by that. And we are not affected to that extent, but still we have a long way to go. That's what I feel. And you prayed for that. I am grateful to you that we will survive, we will fight it back, and your foresight is remarkable. Coming back to your question on air conditioning, it is a peak summer season. If you take March, April, May, June, close to 50% of our revenue comes from this particular season. It is like a festival period for us. We look forward to summer. We prepare for it from November onwards. And campaigns were ready, and the products were ready, product launches were over, pressure conferences were scheduled, and all of a sudden we are in a big setback situation. But then it is one summer season. I look at it as it is a call from heavens to look at ourselves and review where we are, our lifestyles, what we need to do, how we have to do differently. And while the pain is a reality, I think how we take it for ourselves and process in our minds, process as an executive of a company, process as a businessman, process as a consumer should be different. I think it is also for good. It is a better way to deal with it. It is a very painful period, that much I can tell you. But equally, I am confident that we will bounce back in a different manner in the days to come.
Thank you. I have found, first of all, thank you for your kind words about me. I'm a quizzer, so I tend to remember things, and I make an extra effort on it. So I believe in whatever you focus on grows. If you focus on positivity, it grows. And I like the fact that you're being optimistic and looking at the silver linings. And let me ask you a personal question. I know you were traveling more like 20 days a month, going to your customers, going to, locations, to your offices, to industry gatherings, and, eating out a lot. And really 20 days of traveling would take toll on your health. Tell us the positive sides as a leader. How has it impacted you positively?
I must be honest, Dr. Batra. The first 15 days was very, very, what to say, horrible for me. I was left high and dry from my routine. I had to, by the way, my secretary remembers all the dates, like you. And I was telling her only last week that I used to wonder that will I get 2 days in my house continuously. I was longing for that. And now God has made me stay non-stop more than 30 days. And I don't think I'm enjoying, to be very honest. I would like to move out. I would like to get back to my routine. I am yet to overcome that.
Thank you. And has it impacted your health positively in any way? Because you're eating at home, you're possibly, I know we all are working longer days, but how has it impacted positively? I mean, has it helped you in losing weight or sleeping better? I know you're worried about the business and your employees and colleagues, but what are the positives? Let's focus a bit on the positives.
I think I am eating on time, number one, because during the travel schedules, by the time you reach home returning by a flight, or you reach a destination by a flight, or in between the meetings, my team packs my diary with back-to-back meetings. I used to skip lunch, skip breakfast, so on and so forth. I think I'm eating on time. That's a good thing. Number two is I think I am sleeping adequately. At least 7 hours I am used to. I am able to sleep, whereas it was just 5 hours prior to this lockdown. Third is that I am, reading has not changed. That I was reading when I was traveling, and I continue to read. I think I am able to watch a few movies, which I never used to do over Netflix or Amazon Prime.
Thank you. Coming back to business, you already shared that it is peak time for you and everybody in this business. So 5 months are 50% of the sales. Now, at least 2 months have been shaved, March and April. Looks like May will also be tough. So how are you preparing for the future? Let's say post-June, post-July. How do you see the business environment shaping up?
It is still uncertain how it is going to pan out, but the 2-3 things are clear. Number one is lockdown was imposed all of a sudden, but lifting of the lockdown is not going to be sudden. It is going to be a gradual process. We are now mapping which are the green zones, orange zones, or white zones, and which are the hot spots, and which are the dealer outlets located there, which are the warehouses that will serve, which are the service centers that can reach there, which is the sales crew which can serve which locality. That mapping we have done perfectly, and it is being digitized. I think it will be a way of life for another 3 to 4 months of time. We have adequate inventory, so therefore opening the factory doesn't help us at all. But very interestingly, certain other segments are opening up for us. Say, for example, in a residential segment, air conditioners with inbuilt air purifiers will be a sought after thing. Because you have seen certain adverse comments about how safe is to use the AC. Number one is that in a residential premises, in your apartment or anywhere, as long as there is no infected person, you can go ahead and use the AC. And if you maintain the temperature between 24 to 30 degrees centigrade, it automatically sets the humidity between 40 to 70, which is very, very good for the virus conditions. So you are absolutely safe using a residential air conditioner. If you are using a central air conditioning system, it is again designed with a fresh air intake. Your manufacturer or service provider has to check it is completely operational, the ventilation part of it. You will be perfectly saved from any kind of a virus attack. So therefore, no harm in using the air conditioning system. So the scientific reports, CPWD, everyone have endorsed that view. So therefore, we started with a setback whether air conditioning is good for virus, bad for virus. That part is settled now. One can go ahead and use. The demand is pouring in. Only thing is we are not able to service that, even though we have the inventory. The next one is we are a manufacturer of medical refrigeration equipment for vaccines, and there are cold rooms meant for vaccines as well as processed foods. This business is looking up. So there is a possibility that room air conditioner will come on stream from Q2 onwards. From now on, the commercial refrigeration business is doing extremely well. So the third part is our central air conditioning business. We are engaged in setting up some makeshift hospitals, isolation rooms, so on and so forth. It gives us the hope that we will pass through this trial period and come back stronger in H2. That is where we are. In the meanwhile, we have to manage our costs. And I'm sorry to tell you that we planned for a very big, aggressive advertising campaign with Virat Kohli. And unfortunately, we are missing the peak season. We are not able to use that. And ironically, that communication is about Virat and dozens of Virat lookalikes. And we encouraged that more Virats and more people in a room. In a social distancing context, that even the television campaign will be irrelevant. Another campaign which Virat did for us was the air conditioner with inbuilt air purifier, where Virat sneezes and the 10 people around him also sneeze, even that television commercial becomes infructuous in this particular context. So we have to use a tweaking of the certain commercials and the shots. We have to say that owned by Virat, loved by Virat. So therefore, for the festival season, at least we are ready with a campaign. And water purifiers, I think people will consume in a very large number because the health consciousness and awareness is going up. Yeah, and most importantly, we have a product which talks about boosting the immunity. It is alkaline levels, it increases. Therefore, there is an opportunity. But having said all this, last summer is last summer, so there is nothing we can do about it. And if you ask me, what is paining me the most is many employees will share this pain, right? And many vendors will spare the pain. And I have shared with you at some point of a time that in my career, I invariably get a couple of employment requests every month. It went on increasing. That if you see in a month, at least there will be a dozen persons who seek an employment. A father who has educated a son, or a girl who is on the lookout for a break, so on and so forth. And my whole ambition is that if I can place everyone somewhere, if not Blue Star. For this purpose, I used to think that post my retirement, I should commence an organization which employs lakhs of people. Before going to bed, my dream used to be like this: that I run an organization where somebody apply for the job and they will get a job. It may be a fantasy, but I am sharing with you the pain. At this point of a time, my biggest worry is whether across the industry many people will be losing the job, and how this is going to be panning out. I am not for a moment worried about air conditioning or refrigeration. It will indeed come back. But how the society at large will cope with this and bounce back is much more important than the business itself.
Because I know you personally through my interactions, I know what you say, you mean every word of it. And I've seen that side in you. So I'm sure God will help you realize that dream, maybe not in the next 3-6 months, but maybe in the next 12-18 months. This is a ABP presented pitch brand talk, and you referred to your advertising campaigns a little while ago. So I have to ask you 2 questions on the ABP pitch brand talk. It's about the brand. Where are you? You said you're ready for the festive season. You tweak the campaigns and you're ready. Now, where are you spending your media monies? Because news channels have seen an increase in viewership from 100% to 200% in some cases. Do you think news is a great genre to spend more monies because people are watching news more? So tell us a little bit about how your marketing dollars are being spent, and do you see news channels as getting more of your monies?
I am setting aside the current situation, which is a volatile, uncertain one. Generally, we have targeted news and cricket. That is how we have been. And in summer season, ideally for us, IPL helped. And most of the time, news channels have been delivering very effectively for us. And thanks to the Indian politics, the elections are happening on and off. During the election times, we have immensely benefited, whether it is the result day or it is the campaign trail. We have seen good deliveries happening through news channels. Personally, I have not been a believer in soaps or general entertainment channels at all. For me, for my product, for my brand, it is cricket and news channels.
Now that cricket is not happening, that's why I asked this question. Now that the cricket is not happening, do you look at news channels more to carry your brand message in campaigns?
Quite a few people have been talking to me about that as and when the market opens up, let us say the retail channels open up in May or June, or the festival season, we will invariably go to the news channels only.
Fantastic. And because you're, apart from being a leader and a CEO and MD, you're also an individual who watches news channels, right? So how do you think have the news channels fared in these COVID times? Tell us the positive aspects of news channels. What have they done to be able to endear themselves to their viewers or to make themselves more relevant in society?
Remarkable job. I am deeply impressed that I do watch CNN, BBC as well. I would say, number one, Indian channels are second to none. Two, in this particular situation, they are risking their lives to report the news. They are in the front line, and I salute all those reporters who are on the front, reporting the news in an effective manner. Third is the analysis and the analytics that is being brought out at regular intervals. It's not only Indian data, it is the data across the globe. If you take India alone, every state and what is happening, how it is happening. And I would also say that there is less of politics at this point of a time, more of social responsibility that is laudable. You don't see many controversies being reported and hyped up or something like that. It is a real responsible reporting. It is happening at a time when normalcy is not there. It is a very challenging job. I would equally share another view of mine is unfortunately the advertising revenue of most channels would have been impacted very heavily, and it is going to be impacted for quite some time. Despite that, the enthusiasm of the channels is appreciated.
Thank you, Mr. Thiagarajan, for complimenting the media professionals. And we on Exchange for Media, keeping with the sentiment that you have expressed 2 weeks back, we started with a campaign called First Responders. I see my news professional friends going out doing stories from frontline. So they are bringing credible information. Credible news brands are bringing verified, credible news. So I'm grateful to you on behalf of the news and media fraternity for giving us that positive energy. I want to ask you my two last questions, and then we can bring the audience in, Priyanka. My first question is that what is your advice to leaders, individuals in this period? What is it that they should do to prepare themselves for the future? That's my first question. Second is, in terms of media spend, you said that for a large part you see it being impacted. So do you see in the next 6 to 12 months, and I'm not talking next 3 months, media staying the same in terms of budget allocation or going down?
The first question is that I am too small a fellow. There are big stalwarts. My own understanding of the situation is it is better to stay positive. That is very important. And despite all this, I must believe in angels. I should believe in miracles. And therefore, the way this came in, this virus, it will disappear and we will come back to normal. That faith should be there. There will be many stories that will be coming that this can happen, that can happen, we can collapse, the world is recession. And I think we should take it one at a time. It is better to deal with that on a daily basis. So deal for the day, avoid imagining what it will be in the month of May or June or July. It is better to wait for that to happen. That is the first one. if you have spare time, it is worthwhile to ponder over what other business opportunities can emerge out of this, and is there some innovation that we can work on? How I can, say for example, I have a feeling the people will try to stay away from big cities because the big cities are affected much more than smaller towns. I think many of us will start thinking about whether I do something in the rural India rather than the metro India. So the rural economy offers immense prospects, and my passionate subject is agriculture, food processing. I think there is something corporate India should do there. This may be a turning point for India to attempt that. And the government has to equally collaborate with the corporate sector to enable that process. The second question of yours, I think my rough estimate is that on a like-to-like basis, H1, H2 of last year versus H2 of this particular year, that is the period October to March 2000, the last financial year, October to March this financial year, I do not think that the advertising revenue will dip because everyone will be in a ramp-up mode. That is what is I may be entirely wrong, but I want it to be that way.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Thiagarajan. Priyanka, would you like to get some audience questions on this optimistic note? One, there are opportunities in agriculture and India must capitalize on them. Second, October to March may see the same spends that Indian advertising marketing media saw. On that optimistic note, would you like to get questions from the audience? And if the question, Mr. Thiagarajan can answer that. Priyanka, are you there?
Yeah, sir. We are just sharing. We have mentioned 2 questions. One is
Can we get the person who wants to ask on the screen and maybe let him or her ask directly?
We'll just try, sir. We'll just try
or
that.
Tell me the question, I will just ask.
One is the question. Okay. One is that do you think that it should be measured? Do you think news is getting undervalued during this time when it provides most actual information?
I think news is doing a fantastic job, as I mentioned, that it is very challenging times. The reporters are risking their lives. And most importantly, it requires a lot of analytics to tell the truth. I think they are doing a remarkable job. And I went on to even mention, I watch CNN, I watch BBC. Our channels are second to none. They are doing a remarkable job.
Yeah, Priyanka, second question.
And then do you think that it can be measured much better than any other medium right now?
Television news is obviously the only one I think people live on. The problem with e-newspapers is, you can imagine, the reach should be much lower. The digital medium, you are bombarded with so much of it. You refuse to go back to the phone and open any message at all. Therefore, I think television news channels are the best one in comparison at this point of time.
Fantastic. Priyanka, any other questions, or I can ask 1 or 2 questions and we can close it then?
So yes, you can ask. I'm just I'll just add.
I see some questions which are very narrow. Like someone is asking for HSN market, which news channel should be used. I don't think that's a question Mr. Thiagarajan is qualified, in the sense he's, it requires a different, maybe he can ask his CMO or his media head and come back. So
or Dr. Batra or Sam Balsara.
Yes. So I think those are very technical questions which require a nuanced analysis. So those kind of questions I'm not allowing. I can see them on the screen. They're very narrow. But, yes, to the person who asked that question, that, he talked about approaching rural markets. So in that sense, the way you are thinking is the right way, because the focus on rural markets or semi-urban markets will grow. That's where the growth will come from. Mr. Thiagarajan, I'd like to ask you my last question and then we can wrap up. If you had to make 3 predictions for the future, what would those be? I know I said you're not an astrologer, you're not a futurist. And like you, for the first 1 week, 10 days, I felt very lost. And, I was very worried. And I'm first generation entrepreneur. As of today, I don't have the staying power that bigger companies have. But in the last 30 days, I worked more focused. I worked longer, harder. I'm more optimistic about the future than I ever was. And, I've enjoyed, made the most of what we have had. And, I really believe in God. I believe in miracles. I believe in, if you believe in something, it happens. So I really believe in that. It's not something that I'm saying here. I live that. So I can identify. We as leaders also felt, we felt at sea. With a certain uncertainty of a real kind all across us. But we've gathered and we are doing the best. And I can tell you, as media platforms, whether Exchange for Media or Businessworld.in, we're becoming video, we're becoming fully digital. Exchange for Media was launched 20 years back. On 1st July, it'll be 20 years. So, we were video 10-20%, we're moving to 50% video. So we're becoming video, fully digital, mobile first. So the experience that a news channel gives, that is, we come close to that. We're making it more interactive. So we are also reimagining our business. We're also accelerating our digital transformation. We're also looking at what will work in the future. So I hope the gatherings that you mentioned in some way are back in September, October, and we really look forward to that. My last question is, I asked you, what is your 1, 2, 3 predictions for the future?
Number one, I firmly believe that there will be a drug for treatment of this, and there will be a vaccine sooner than we expect. So I think the drug should be available by September itself, and the vaccine should be getting administered in India from December onwards, at least by December onwards. That is my first prediction. The second one is, I think Indian youth will emerge much stronger. We were all in my generation. I don't think we underwent that kind of a shock. This is a huge shock for them. They are coping with this, and I'm amazed at their resilience to go through this particular process at a young age. They will face many challenges in terms of salary cuts or job losses. They are going to. But despite all this, I think they will emerge much, much stronger, which will be good for India. The third one is that India will be a great destination for global manufacturers and service providers. This is a moment, if our policies are right, we will save and move forward. I think we must exchange notes wherever we are. By next May, Indian economy will be in a different level altogether. We will bounce back very strongly.
Thank you so much, Mr. Thiagarajan. There are audience questions, and I'll give you 2 so that the audience, their time is made. And I'm, one question is, what are the functions as a leader, as an organization? What are the functions within your organization that you're focusing on, and how are your employees dealing with it? Second question is about the acceleration of digital mediums. These are the 2 questions. First, what are the functions within the organizations you're focusing a lot more these days? And second, how are your employees dealing with? Third, how do you see the acceleration of digital mediums?
Our primary focus is human resources function in order to keep the people engaged and addressing their concerns, queries, anxieties, so on and so forth, one end. And within that, our aftermarket function. Because of the summer season, many people need service. And we are serving many hospitals, many IT data centers, many banks, etc. And they have to move out, and they have to take out the spare parts. They have to secure permissions, and that function is getting a lot more attention at this point of time. I think people are worried about their future, and we need to reassure them that this is a momentary setback, and things will be all right. And that is one of the challenges all companies will go through. That that whether there is going to be a huge pay cut, how much it will be, whether my job is secured or not, and when I will go back to office. These kind of concerns as leaders, we have to keep addressing them. Therefore, communication is important. Digital medium, already it was on the rise. And after experiencing this, I think it is going to be a lot more. At the same time, I am not an advocate of it is the end of print, it is the end of television, only digital will prevail. I think everything is going to coexist.
Thank you. There are a lot of questions coming, which means what will be your advice to your retail partners from Pankaj Sharma? One question, can we do expansion in OS media at this period by LK Nagaraj? Since this is high time for your category, what is the loss in your category you're witnessing? From Surinder Singh. Karan Bhatia asking, will India take next big leap and we see changes happening in all businesses? What is the distribution that this disruption this segment will witness in post-COVID by Amit Sethia? So, lots of questions. What is the disruption this business will see in the future by Amit Sethia? I think we'll take that question first, and then we'll go down to other questions.
I do not think there will be a huge disruption, except that it is going to take time for people to be going back to places where there are large crowds, malls, cinema theaters, for example, air travel, eating out in a restaurant. These are going to be taking a lot more time. There has to be social distancing for at least 6 months of time till a vaccine comes or so. And I think disruption is in this particular place. If you are in any other category, I am not seeing a disruption as yet. Because the demand levels from certain large segments will come down, you may have to. Like, for example, there was a private jet dealer who was contacting me last week to say that will we be looking at buying private jets, since air travel by a normal commercial airline will be lesser, because he is already thinking of an opportunity out there.
Sir, Mr. Thiagarajan, I want to stop you here. If you buy one from time to time, please loan it to us.
Yeah, definitely. We are not there. On the contrary, we will stop traveling. So to that extent, the disruption may be reduction in travel and how you will.
And what is the shrinking of the size of the air conditioning for these 3 months? Let's say March, April, May, and I'm not taking beyond that. If the disruption continues for May, do you think you will contract by 10%?
Yeah, so far it is 30. If May is a washout, it will jump to 50.
Mr. Thiagarajan is saying to surrender.
For the quarter, I am saying, for the quarter.
The quarter, 30% for the quarter if it stays till May, and 50% for the quarter if it stays till June. And you can calculate if these 5 months are 50% of the sales, you can impact possibly 10% to 15% contraction. That would be fair to.
That's only for the room air conditioners. Commercial refrigeration or central air conditioning may not be impacted because this is highly seasonal product. But I'm also taking into account that since the disposable income levels can come down, there may be a reduction in future purchases during festival season as well. But I'm surprised that I keep getting mails that, look, we will be required to work from home. So therefore, I want to acquire an air conditioner. So the people are trying to make their home much more comfortable. So all put together, full year, as if you ask me today, I think the full year compared with the last year should be 20% reduction to 10% reduction.
Great. There are questions from Vivek Renderia. Is it possible for your industry to recover the losses of sales in remaining quarters? What do you think about the Indian economy after coronavirus? Hitesh Garg. Does the digital scenario affect air conditioning industry? By Anonymous. What do you think after lockdown air conditioning would be able to sell the inventories? What do you see as the future of the newspaper industry? There are lots and lots of questions, which is a good thing. That means people have been totally glued in and listening to you. What is the future of the newspaper industry?
It will coexist, as I told you. Even today, I am surprised with the number of people who are reading even the e-newspaper. They're taking pains to go through that. I think they are longing for newspaper to be delivered at their doorsteps. It will not die. It will continue to coexist.
Thank you. And a lot of people are asking questions which you answered before, but you can, how to deal with this crisis, how to stay calm, how to deal with this at an individual level, at a leadership level, at an organization level, as a societal level. I know you said that you believe in miracles, you believe that the future will be better, but give us some, that was a little more philosophical, give us some practical tips.
See, the thing is that it is a God-made thing that it has happened, and it will pass. So there is absolutely no point in wondering that it is going to be an endless thing at all, because you have to go by the past evidence of quite a few events. 1918, I do not know what happened. I have read about it, about the Spanish flu. The world bounced back. World War I, the world bounced back. World War II, the world bounced back. In our lifetime, the wars that we had fought, and look at the history of India, the partition war. Compared with the pain they have undergone, I don't think we are undergoing that pain today. Partition was a very painful thing for most part of India. And be it 2611, be it the global financial crisis as recently as 2009, we have survived all that and we have bounced back. And this is another event of a different type. And I think it prepares us for many more viruses that will happen as predicted. And I hope people will laugh at me. I think this is the worst crisis of the century we will be facing, because we will prepare for many more adverse situations already.
Sure. So you're saying it will make us prepare for adversity. It will make us more resilient. It will kind of rewire us to be able to live in a new world. So on that note, I would like to ask you my last question and kind of wrap up. Mr. Thiagarajan, if we talk to you 1 year from now or 6 months from now, if you had to reimagine the world, what would that be? What would be the positives 6 months, 12 months from now? I want to leave it on a positive note.
I think we will be indeed watching movies. Perhaps the cinema theaters will be redesigned. I think we will have a lot more confidence to travel by air. And I think the News Broadcast Awards will definitely take place in your standard venue, and it will be well attended.
Thank you, Mr. Thiagarajan. And thank you to all our viewers for tuning in. We could take most of your questions, but not all of. You can mail those questions to priyanka.badoria@exchangeformedia.com, and she can get them answered from Mr. Thiagarajan. Thank you, Mr. Thiagarajan, for being real, for being humane, and for being optimistic. We wish Blue Star, your industry, and our nation good luck, and we look forward to engaging with you in a conversation soon. and seeing you at Exchange for Media events soon. Thank you. God bless you, sir.
It was a pleasure talking to you, Dr. Batra. Thank you, Prem.
Thank you, Mr. Taki. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for joining us at ABP Present, this virtual series of Pitch Brand Talk. Thank you for your valuable time.
Thank you, Priyanka.
Thank you.
Badoria. Thank you, Priyanka Singh. And thank you, all the viewers. Thank you.
Thanks.